the first question I wanted to ask you, have you ever had a moment where you felt that when you were scrolling on social media that it sort of warped your reality a little bit?
Not really warped my reality, but sometimes you do get that dopamine effect where you're watching something and it's funny and you could just keep on, like you want to laugh again. And you're like, let me see what's next. You know, you searching for that high kind of, you know?
It's like we're replacing sort of like human interaction with likes and the algorithm and the things that show up on your For You page. And I think it's so important to actually say out loud that it's actually created a world where people are becoming recluses from like society. Right. And like people who just like stay in their mom's basement or whatever it may be, or like avoid human interaction. So although this podcast is like, obviously you're consuming it digitally, which is great. Like, but I think it does need to, if you haven't been outside in a few days watching this podcast, pause it, go out and come back in and watch this again, because there's a world out there and that people should be embracing that world, right? People shouldn't run away from human interaction, conversations, and it's creating a real disease, dude. Like honestly, like people don't know how to be around people anymore. Like it's becoming weird. Like
and I would say one thing that I try to stop myself from doing is whenever I go to a live event, I don't want to record the whole live event, you know? And it's just being in that moment, enjoying it. Of course, you want to get something. Like I'll do like, you know, the first minutes while I'm there, and maybe like if I know the show is ending like that. But for the most part, I try to be in the moment and enjoy the actual concert than just having my phone out recording it the whole time.
For me, when Bad Bunny was in New York, I went to the concert. But before that, I felt like I already saw the concert. Because you be seeing some people's stories, you know, where you can't even tell how many dots there are anymore. Like, and I was like, this person saw their entire concert through their phone. And it happened to me on 4th of July like 2 years ago. I was watching the fireworks kind of like through my phone lens. Right? Like I was like, this is kind of weird. Like let me put my phone down and let me actually consume it in person. I'm someone who's not on the internet as much as some other people. Like I consume the internet for news because that's where people drop their news, any updates of pop culture events I wanna be following. But the way the algorithm in the world is turning to, if you're not on the internet, you're missing out on stuff. Which is how they're getting you to grasp, so that you are there, so they make their money off their ads and their marketing and all that. But I think that it's created a dopamine overload, and it's created anxiety, depression, and sort of like attention loss. If you ever notice, like even with some of my own family members, they can't hold a conversation, bro. They just automatically will go right back to the...
And people kind of just like regurgitate memes or, you know, sayings on the internet, you know?
Like where'd you get that piece of information? Twitter told me. Yo, that's crazy when it starts getting like that, and like people start having arguments based upon stuff they see on the internet, right? And especially amongst men, because we are men, right? So I just want to read a couple stats out here, right? So this is just basically on how social media has rewired the brain. So the CDC data shows about 50% of U.S. teens spend 4 or more hours per day on screens. Among them, 27.1% experienced anxiety symptoms and 25.9% had depression symptoms within the past 2 weeks, right? These teens reported significantly higher distress than peers with less screen time. So I just want to stop right there. That's the reason why parents nowadays, because of information like that, limit screen time, right? And one of my friends who was telling me about just observing some parents, right, like with their child, taking that iPad away from that child, she was literally going into a panic attack, taking that screen away. They've become so attached because that generation
That's the new pacifier now, you know? And as a parent, none of us are parents yet, you know, but from what I hear from parents, they're like, no, like that iPad, they start crying and all that. Here you go.
Yeah,
you put the game on.
Because it gets them, but it also, if you think about it, what are the parents doing? The parents are always on their phone and always on their iPad. Kids are sponges. They're going to do what their parents do. So what I've seen the better parents do, or like not the better parents, the parents who kind of want their kids to have less screen time, they won't be on their phone around their kids as much. Because they're going to see, oh, mom and papa, or whatever the relationship may be. They're like they're actually reading a book, or even damn near watching television, or listening to the radio, or listening to music, or outside working out, whatever they may be. But if they're always on their phone on the couch doing this, what's going to happen, right? Like, and we're creating such a... I look, we can't get rid of the internet. We can't get rid of social media. It's always going to be here. I'm not asking for that. That'd be so damn unrealistic. But I think what we can do is control how we consume it. You can control what you consume.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and I do think the internet can be used for like sort of like funny things, but it's being used as an escape now for people. People are dating way more on the internet than they ever did.
Yep.
Right. Whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, dating apps, whatever it may be.
A lot of people feel weird if you try to approach them in person, but it's okay in the DMs, you know.
And like when they're outside now, they're not even asking for your number anymore. They're like, "What's your IG handle?" I'm like, "What? IG handle?" I'm like, "Nah, we talk with numbers out here." Like, you know what I mean? But like, that's just to show you the generational changes and how the internet has influenced how people interact with people outside the internet. There's still a social media component, even when you're talking to somebody. Like, "Yo, give me your social media handle." Yo, there should be two separate worlds, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Definitely. And I've seen that a lot of people are desensitized, you know, even myself now, because it's like you're seeing shootings on it, you're seeing murders on Instagram, you know what I mean?
On Instagram, on IG.
Yeah, exactly.
On like CBS News, breaking news.
Yeah, so I think it's like you can't tell the difference between like, you know, if it's treated like a movie almost. It's like, oh, okay, someone got killed, someone got shot. Okay, next.
That's what it does, right?
Yeah.
Another stat, right? Just going based on the desensitization, right? So according to the Surgeon General, up to 95% of teens use social media, and over 1/3 of it are almost on it constantly. So it speaks to what you just said about desensitization. You are on something constantly, it's going to desensitize you from the actual real thing. Whether it's seeing a gruesome murder or some sort of crime happen on the internet, you're like, oh, that's cool. It didn't happen to me. Cool. So whether it's tragedy, joy, memes, trauma, right? Like side by side, you're just becoming desensitized to it because of the screen time.
Yeah.
And what concerns me about that is even in my own life, certain emotions have become desensitized, right? Empathy, or because you're almost so robotic, right? And it's kind of affecting my relationship with people, and I've had to catch myself with that.
Yeah.
And I'm not even addicted to the internet. Like, I don't call myself as somebody who's a doom scroller. I do it every once in a while. It happens. You're waiting at an airport. You're waiting for a document to come back in an office. But even with me, when I experience what's on the internet in real life, it's just sort of like just another day occurrence for me. And that's not good. It's supposed to be something that I'm supposed to cherish and feel more intensely than I do on the internet.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of something I've been aware about.